Hi YouTube, this is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery. You can visit me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. Okay, so we're doing a field trip today. You know, I normally do knife making videos, but today we're going to talk about chicken mites. So you can hear the girls in the background there, you know, clucking away, you know, having a good old time. But we've had these chickens now for about 4 years or so, and it seems like every once in a while we start having trouble with mites. I don't know what kind of mites they are. It seems like there's two different kinds, and I'm not sure if one of them is just a younger version of the other one. But there's these little bitty tiny things that you can't hardly see them unless you got your reading glasses on, and I mean they're like way finer than grains of sand. I mean like grains of like a really fine flour or something like that, way finer than salt. I mean just tiny little things. Like if you were to take a freshly sharpened pencil and put a dot on a piece of paper, that's about the size they are. And then there's another size that there are about the size of a grain of sand, or maybe 2 or 3, something like that. Maybe a little bit bigger than a flea, but you can see them with the naked eye pretty easy. Anyway, so you know, my wife, I guess there's all kind of ways to raise chickens and care for them and all that kind of stuff. And I guess most of them work pretty good. My wife, she's, well, they're her chickens. You know, I'm just the guy that, I work in my shop and it's right out, you know, right next to the chickens, so I get to see them all day long. But anyway, so I keep an eye on them and everything. She's the one that studies up all this stuff. Well, anyway, so she likes, you know, these coops. Both these are the 2 coops, and they've got nesting boxes on the sides. And she likes to keep a fairly clean coop. So I typically clean the coop, so maybe once a week or once every 2 or every 3 weeks. I let it go a little bit longer during the summer because they spend most of their time outside. They only come inside, you know, to eat and drink it at night. And so the coops don't get quite as messy, quite as fast during the summertime as they do in the wintertime, you know, when the days are shorter and they're spending most of the day in the coop. In the wintertime, we don't really have a problem with the mites. Apparently they can't handle the cold, and so they either go into hibernation or they just die off, and then, you know, local birds bring in more mites, you know, during the warmer months. So anyhow, so like I said, my wife likes to keep, you know, a fairly clean coop, and she also likes to do things in the most natural, you know, non-chemical type way that she can get away with. So what we've been doing in the past is when we have trouble with mites, and you'll see them, you'll you know, lift up the nesting boxes, and if you're paying really close attention when you clean them out, you'll see like it'll be like a little colony of these mites, and they'll be tucked in corners here and there, typically in the nesting box, but sometimes they'll be, you know, on the roosting bars, or, you know, on maybe the side of the coop, you know, just in different places here and there. And when you see those, well then in the past what we've done is pretty much you clean the coop out and you spray it down with this stuff that comes in a little bitty bottle like this. You get it at Murdoch's or at Jack's, and it's like 15 bucks a bottle. And to spray all the walls and the inside of the nesting boxes and everything takes about 3 bottles per coop. And you keep doing that apparently until you have no more mite problems. Which the only time that we've had that happen is when winter time comes. And if you have a nest of those, you know, the mites, and you spray it down with that commercial stuff, and flock protector or coop protector or whatever it is, you can spray that whole nest down and then watch them mites walk around in it and then walk off, and I swear you could see them shake like a dog and then just go on about their business. The other stuff that we were using was a concoction of Dawn dishwashing detergent, and I think she had like some salt in there and maybe some vegetable oil or something, and apparently that was supposed to be like the nicer, you know, less chemically version of that coop protector stuff. And it was the same deal. I mean, you could spray that stuff right on a nest of mites, and, you know, I swear they were drinking the stuff and throwing a party. So then, you know, she tried the diatomaceous, however you pronounce it, this stuff right here. Diatomaceous earth. This stuff is supposed to kill pretty much any kind of bug out there that's like a, whatever kind of bug it is, right? So you're supposed to put that stuff in the bottom of the coop and in the bottom of the nesting boxes, and it's supposed to kill those stupid things, right? Well, it's the same thing. That's a nice white powder, and so you put it in the bottom there, and then, you know, you come back a week later or 2 weeks later and you go to clean the coop, and I swear you can watch those stupid mites play in that stuff like they're playing in a big sandbox. And then my wife, you know, she's about this tall. Every time she would come over to check for eggs, you know, she would get a face full of that stuff. And it really didn't agree with her. So this year, it took a little bit, I was a little bit behind on my coop cleaning duties. And I went in here to clean the coop, and man, we had mites like, oh my gosh. I mean, I don't know how I didn't spot them beforehand, you know, before they got that bad, except for it's just been a really busy summer. They were in both, you know, nesting boxes, both coops. And then on this coop right here, this whole wall right here was just covered in the dang things. I mean, they were all over the top of this 2x4. They were all over the roosting bar. They were all over the wall itself. Oh, there's a red one. I can't remember what breed she is, but she's really cool. Yeah, I like her. Sometimes she'll sit on my arm. I mean, I try not to make pets of the chickens, but I guess sometimes you can't help it. So anyway, they were everywhere, right? And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, oh, and another thing, we were giving the chickens baths. Okay, so to do that, you take like a Rubbermaid tub and you fill it up with lukewarm water. And then as you're filling it up, you know, put Dawn dishwashing detergent in there, you know, to where you get lots and lots of bubbles and everything, and you bathe the chickens in water. You hold them down in it, I mean, keep their head out, you know, and then kind of, you know, work it down underneath their feathers. That is really, really hard on chickens. Even in nice weather like today, they really don't like that all that much. You know, I mean, all the feathers that they carry, and then you drench them. I mean, that's an awful lot of weight. I mean, I bet you each chicken was probably carrying a half a gallon of water that was soaked into the feathers. And yeah, it was not such a good time. In fact, we ended up losing one chicken to that. Now, granted, she was a little on the older side and a little bit sickly also, but that shock to her system of being cold and wet like that, you girls better stay in there. I'll let them out to run here in about an hour or so. They'll just run around the yard and eat bugs and everything. So those water baths were really, really rough on them. So I found this mite infestation, and I'm like, oh my God, are we going to go back to the bathing the chickens, you know, twice a week, and then cleaning the chicken coop every couple of days, and, you know, spraying down this stuff that nothing seems to work very well, you know, and fighting the mites for the next 2 or 3 months before winter comes and the cold kills them? So I told my wife, I said, well, just go get the commercial poison, you know, I mean, whatever the biggest, strongest commercial poison, because I'm not normally like a home remedy kind of guy. I'm usually, you know, you go straight to the doctor, or you go straight and you get whatever kind of poison it is to kill them and, you know, call it good. So she went to go get some, and she was reading the packaging on the back, and apparently that stuff's really rough on honeybees. And of course, you know, we've got 2 hives worth of honeybees in the back. We keep bees, so we didn't really want to do that. So I get on the internet, and I probably searched the internet forums, you know, for 2 or 3 days, you know, looking for something that would work on these, that wouldn't kill the bees and all that. Somewhere in there, I wish I could find it again, there was a dude that said he used simple green, concentrated simple green spray to kill the mites that he could see, and then he put wood ash in the nest boxes and in the coops, and he said that cleared everything up. And I thought, you know, it sounds like BS to me, but, you know, at this point I'll try just about anything. I heat my shop with a wood stove, so I've got, you know, a little bit of wood ash on hand almost all the time. Wood ash also makes a great, if you got to anneal a piece of steel and it won't fit in your kiln, you know, a bucket of wood ash, heat it up to non-magnetic, stick it in that wood ash and let it cool down slow overnight, and it, you know, it does a really good job of annealing. So I always keep some wood ash on hand. That dude, if I could find his post again, you know, the guy's a genius, absolute genius. So like I said, we had all these mites, right? So I could tell. The great thing about having lots of mites is that you can see them. So you hit them with something, and if they just walk through it and they look like they're drinking it and having a good old time, then that's not the thing you want to use. If you spray them with it and it just knocks them out dead, then go ahead and spray down the rest of the coop with it, right? That guy, like I said, so Simple Green, this is the concentrated version, okay? You put it on, well, you spray it however you want to. But this stuff right here, absolutely whatever it was, or whatever kind of mites they are, you spray them down with this and they stop. You come back 15 minutes later and there ain't a damn mite moving inside wherever it was you sprayed. Awesome. You get this stuff for, I think individually at Walmart, they're like $5 or $6 for a bottle. I was at Menards just the other day and I got a whole gallon of this stuff with a spray bottle full for, I think it was like $10, something like that. So I've been spraying this down on the roosting bars, and then when I lift up the lid on the, you know, the nesting box, or anywhere I see mites, you know, you spray them down with this stuff and then spray the whole roosting bar, spray the entire inside of the nest box when you clean it out, and whatever this stuff comes in contact, it kills. I'm guessing that this is, I mean, this is a degreaser just like Dawn dishwashing detergent is. But I think the difference is that this stuff is concentrated as much as they can and still have it come through a spray nozzle. Dawn dishwashing detergent, on the other hand, it's really tough to hit that right balance of water and soap to where it still comes out good and it doesn't, you know, gum up the inside of your sprayer and quit working. And this stuff is still concentrated, it just knocks them out. The other thing is the wood ash. And I was really kind of shocked about this, but we're talking plain Jane wood ash, okay? I don't know if it makes any difference, but most of the stuff that I burn is cottonwood, and lately Siberian elm. Occasionally I get some pine. I did cut down a pretty big, I'm not sure what kind of pine it was, but it was the kind that's got kind of, they look kind of dirty. I mean, they've got short little needles, and they're always kind of drooping a little bit. I had one of those that once or a couple of months, I was driving by it, I saw it, it looked good, and then like a month later, bam, it was dead. And so it had a really hard lean over the street, and so as soon as I spotted that it was pretty much dead, I went ahead and got over there, had to climb it and, you know, chunk it out, bring it down. But I've been burning a little bit of that also. But whatever, I don't know if that has to do with that mix of wood, or if it's just the fact that it's wood ash, or what. But this stuff right here, I kid you not, after I read that guy's post and I decided to go for it, I came out, I put you can still see up in there, I loaded that whole, I sprayed everything down with Simple Green, and then I loaded that whole top edge right there with wood ash, okay, and then I spread out, you know, a coffee can full of wood ash in the bottom of the coop here. There comes red again. And then both of these coops are built the same, so if I show you one, I'm showing you both. I better sit you down here. And then I came in here, did the same thing in here. I went ahead and, you know, cleaned it out, and then sprayed everything down in Simple Green, paying really close attention to, like, you know, little nooks and crannies and the corners in here, you know, where the mites like to nest. Sprayed the whole thing down in Simple Green, and then I put a layer, ½ inch to an inch of wood ash in the bottom, piled it up in the corners where the mites like to be, and then went ahead. Now they've got like a little plastic mat that sits directly on the wood, and then we put straw, you know, an inch or 2 or 3, you know, depends on the weather and everything, on top of that. And then put a handful of wood ash in each one of them and sprinkled it down on top of the straw. The next day, okay, I mean, I'm telling you, when I came out here, there were hundreds of mites in here, maybe even 1,000. The next day I came out with my reading glasses, I saw like 2 between both coops. The next day I came out, I saw 1. The next day my wife came out, she said she got 3. I don't think you're ever going to get completely rid of bugs in a chicken coop, but to go from hundreds or maybe 1,000 mites to 1, that's a heck of a win in my book. And especially, like I said, that coop protector stuff, it was like 15 bucks a bottle. And you needed, you know, a minimum of 4 to 6 bottles to get done with both coops, and it didn't really work worth a shit. Wood ash out of my shop and frickin' Simple Green at 5 bucks a bottle, and it just wiped out our mite problem. So, if you're having problems with mites, as crazy as it might seem, some wood ash and the Simple Green seems to be working really good. Now the wood ash, I think you probably ought to stick with like regular wood ash. I kind of thought about, because I needed to clean the barbecue grill, I kind of thought about grabbing the ash out of there because I use a lot of natural charcoal, lump charcoal. But you know, that might be ash, but it's probably got an awful lot of food grease and everything, even in the bottom stuff. And I'm not too sure that, you know, throwing that in your coops, that grease would probably attract more bugs than what it repels. But this plain old wood ash, I mean, heck, go camping if you got to, and you know, build a fire and in the morning scrape up the wood ash and then put it in a bucket and bring it home. But this stuff right here, that wood ash and Simple Green, is so far doing the trick. I checked everything out before I came and shot the video, like 20 minutes ago. Not one single mite did I see. Yeah, not one. I mean, it's been really, really nice. And the wood ash and the Simple Green really kind of fall in line with my wife's idea of, you know, the least amount of chemicals that you can get away with. It doesn't seem to have affected our bees. It doesn't seem to have affected the chickens. All it does is look like is kill the mites. So I have been sprinkling some wood ash also in their bathing areas. You know, they've got spots here in the yard where it's got an awful lot of dirt and whatever kind of dirt it is that they like to bathe in. But they've only got certain spots. So I'll grab a handful of wood ash and a handful of that diatomaceous earth and put it in each one of them bathing spots, and then that way they bathe in that. And those dirt baths are an awful lot easier on them than the water baths are. So again, like I said, I am no chicken expert. You know, my wife keeps the chickens and she loves them, and I just happen to work next door to them all day long, so I'm the guy that comes out and feeds them and waters them and, you know, keeps an eye on things. And so why it works, I don't know, but that wood ash and Simple Green sure seems to... Wow, that chicken was going crazy. The wood ash and the Simple Green sure seem to be doing the trick. So again, this is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery. Visit me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we will see you next time.